Welcome to Celtic Park with myself, Alistair Lamont, Paddy Bonner alongside me for commentary of Celtic against St Mirren as the champions look to restore normal service against the St Mirren side coming into this on the back of 2 defeats and on a 6-game losing run against today's opponents. Celtic, by Brendan Rodgers' own admission, well short of their best on Thursday, but with an opportunity to extend the lead at the top to 13 points and nailed on surely for a 4th consecutive title. We await the arrival of the 2 teams onto the Celtic Park surface on a relatively calm but cold day in the east end of Glasgow. Celtic Park filling up nicely in the first home fixture of the new year, and Paki, as we've been discussing in the programme already, but certainly Celtic looking to put that Rangers result behind them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, listen, the prize is there, 3 points, but the added bonus, of course, now with Rangers drawing today, is that they can go 13 points ahead of them and get that gap back to nearly what it was before the Rangers game on last Thursday. So we would expect Celtic to be able to come out tonight or today in front of their own fans and play what we've become accustomed to. Move the ball, the movement off the ball, passing it, 1-touch, 2-touch pass, all of that. But they have to react, and they have to react positively, because that was not a performance that any of them would have been proud of last Thursday. Rangers stopped them playing, they cut off the lines of passing, they pressed them high. It'll be a completely different game, I would anticipate, today with St Mirren. Probably going back into a mid to low block and hoping to catch Celtic a little bit on the counter-attack. What Olasanya's pace up front with support from Kilty and O'Hara and Phillips. But in saying that, Celtic should be able to control the game, and when they control the game and push the opposition back, then they become very, very dangerous in that final third of the pitch.
Yeah, well, the 2 teams are out and they have just completed the handshakes, and so now the referee, who is Grant Irvin, will just have his picture taken with the 2 captains, Callum McGregor and Mark O'Hara, restored to the starting lineup as the couple of mascots make their way off. Great day for them, and let's see, will it be a great day for St Mirren, who have only won once here in the last 36 attempts. That came back in January of 2021. Other than that, within that period, they have drawn 3 and lost 32. So the chances are that we are going to see another Celtic victory, as Paki and I have witnessed just in the last couple of weeks over this festive period. 2 4-0 wins over Motherwell and St Johnstone. Will St Mirren fare any better at all? The visitors are all in light blue today as Killian Phillips puts the ball on the centre spot and gets ready to get us underway at Celtic Park, as the Celtic side just assemble within their huddle as usual. Some final words from Captain Callum McGregor, and they break out of that now as St Mirren will go from right to left in this first half as we look at it from the middle of the main stand in the commentary position. Celtic in the green and white hoops as always, white shorts, white socks, and St Mirren assemble half a dozen players almost on the halfway line, looking to try and start this game on the front foot. The ball's played all the way back to Zach Hemming, who's backing the St Mirren goal, and he launches it down the left hand side. It was half won there by Tanzer, who's hurt himself in the process, but it will be out for a throw-in on this near side to St Mirren, and Killian Phillips has come across here to take the throw-in, and presumably he's going to launch this one long as St Mirren look to try and take advantage of some early positive territory. Phillips into the Celtic penalty area. It comes. Carter Vickers tries to attack it. Olasanya gets something on it, but Kuhn picks up and immediately drives Celtic forward. Maida's with him. He's being held back there by Fraser. Kuhn's having to go on his own. He might well go on his own. He's all the way up to the penalty area. Gogic can't live with him, and then back comes Taylor, makes the challenge. Taylor's trying to see it out now, and it's going to be a corner. Taylor should have just cleared his lines, but Nicholas Kuhn, well, he had to go solo there, Paki, because Marcus Fraser, I think he knew exactly what he was doing, stopping Dyson Maida's run. and the referee is now going to have a word with the St Mirren player.
I think it really should be a booking, because if he didn't stop him, Maeda had to run on him, and it was a simple pass from Kuhn to lay him through, and he would have been on a 1v1 situation with the goalkeeper. I'm surprised that he has it. I know it's early in the game and you don't want to see people booked, but I thought it was a real professional foul at that point in time.
Yeah, well, boos around Celtic Park because there is no yellow card for Marcus Fraser for what looked like a pretty blatant hauling down of Maeda off the ball as he made the run in the left channel. Maeda supporting Nicholas Kuhn, who had done wonderfully well to go from one penalty box to the other, eventually stopped in his tracks, and what it's given is Celtic the corner kick to be taken by Arne Engels. Right hand side, swings it in, downward header, just wide from Adam Ida. I thought that was going to nestle in the back of the net inside the opening couple of minutes, but Ida just the wrong side of the post. At Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, an outswinger from Arne Engels, and there was good pace on it, goes right in, round about 7 or 8 yards out, and Adam Ida found a little bit of space, comes off his head. I don't think he knew too much about it, and it just bounced wide of the post, with everybody struggling to. The goalkeeper wasn't even reacting to the ball. I don't know whether he was blocked off, but certainly was a big chance for Celtic at the start of this game.
Certainly was. Adam Ida will probably look back on that one and feel he should have at least hit the target, and Celtic with the first real chance of the game, and just wide from the Irish striker. But here's Sawston Trustee back in the Celtic back four at the expense of Liam Scales. Plays it into Callum McGregor and out to the left hand side to Greg Taylor, who could soon have Kieran Tierney for company and competition at that left back spot if reports are accurate.
Yeah, well listen, if they got Tierney back, but he needs to be a fit Tierney, you know, that's been his biggest issue. You know, we've seen fantastic ability from that young man when he was here in Celtic. He hasn't quite lived up to it, and it's been mainly down to injury and not maybe having a run of games when he went to Arsenal and then he went out on loan. So, but to get him back here, yes, would add to the squad, but you want him to be at least fit to come back in and do a job.
Absolutely, but Kieran Tierney anywhere approaching his best would be a magnificent addition, you feel, to the Celtic squad. Anyway, that's for another day. It's a free kick for offside against Dyson Maeda, and Hemming out of his goal, clad all in orange, launches it down the right hand side. Greg Taylor wins the header. Taylor, his own contract situation, his deal runs out at the end of this season, and not entirely clear whether he is going to be signing a new one, so Celtic obviously have to make sure that they are well equipped should he leave for nothing in the summer. It's 4 minutes in, 0-0 as St Mirren pick up a throw in on the far side into the chest of O'Hara, back to Fraser. Fraser sends it into the penalty area, away by Trusty. As far as Richard Taylor lays it back there to Caelan Boy-Munce, who had to move swiftly to play the pass to a teammate. St Mirren have given it away. It's Gogic, who's had a difficult few days, giving away those 2 penalties against Kelly, and now here comes Kuhn, right hand side, and that's blocked by Gogic behind for a corner. He offers the hand of acknowledgement for giving the ball away in the first place, but he's got more defending to do along with his St Mirren teammates. 0-0, 5 minutes in.
Yeah, Celtic's showing their prowess on the counter-attack, and there was a really good ball from Johnson down the line in behind the defence for Kuhn to get on to. Alex Gogic just got there in time to block the cross. Otherwise, I think they had Maeda, they had McCowan sprinting into the box to get on the end of it.
Engels then from the right hand side once more with the corner, second of the afternoon for Celtic. Swung in near post, not a great delivery from the Belgian, who's normally so good with those set pieces, but that one's easily headed away by Kiltie. Throw in taken quickly by Engels on the right hand side, back to the Canadian Johnston. Now Kuhn right hand side, plays it forward for Johnston, just takes it beyond Tanser. Lovely touch from Johnston, crossing opportunity, great ball in, and it's knocked away by Fraser. Back out to Johnston, he leaves it for a throw in. What a delivery that is from Johnston. We see it game in, game out, but you never get tired of seeing those balls coming in. The striker's just unable to take advantage on that occasion, Packy.
Yeah, no, listen, he links up really well with Kuhn. That was again a disappointment, I think, against Rangers, because that didn't happen in that game. But here today, they're back to what they've been doing so successfully all season, and Johnson getting in and putting those balls in. And I think it was just bodies that was in there from St Mirren's point of view, just to get any contact on the ball, to not allow Maeda or either to get on the end of it, and they were successful in clearing their lines.
Celtic have been given a free kick. Luke McCowan bundled to the ground. It's a good position, this right hand side of the penalty area, about 15 yards maybe from the goal line, as Dundee have taken the lead in Perth against St Johnstone, and Motherwell 1, Aberdeen 0 as well. Here that was a half-2 kick-off. Give you more details of that in a minute as Engels plays it in low. Another terrific ball in, and St Mirren just about scramble away. It's not entirely clear yet. Eventually Olasanya plays it to Kiltie, and he's able to knock it over the halfway line. Olasanya barging Engels to the ground as he looked to block him off. It's all the way back with Kasper Schmeichel, but Engels with a really low delivery that time, causing all sorts of confusion, and again Celtic just unable to turn it into the back of the net.
Just unable to get somebody on the end of those crosses coming in. St Mirren doing well to get bodies and try and get a block on it just to keep their goal intact, and Celtic have started off this game as we would expect, a real reaction from the game on Thursday night, where they had to come out and be real positive, and they have done that, and done that really well so far.
Ewan Wilson, the goal scorer for Motherwell, in that slightly earlier kick-off. That will be, I would guess, coming up to half-time more or less at Fir Park. And here comes Celtic once more, looking for the opening goal. Maeda just unable to connect with the pass through there, as St Mirren are having to work very hard to keep Celtic at bay in these opening exchanges. 7.5 played here at Celtic Park, and it is still 0-0 as O'Hara is just slightly touched there by Kuhn, and buys the free kick, knowing exactly what he was doing there to just get his team a little bit of respite, a bit of a breather, up the park somewhat, and so it will be a St Mirren free kick about 20 yards inside their own half.
Yeah, absolutely, breathing space. That's what they needed, a little bit of time, settle the game down, just take their time and just take breath, because Celtic have started off the game so quickly and so powerfully that sometimes at the start of the game, yes, you have the energy, but you just haven't settled into the game. So I don't know what's happening here. Is a change of ball, I think it is.
Yeah,
goalkeeper's unhappy.
Felt that one was flat, the one he initially had.
Flat, or maybe too hard.
Well, possibly.
That was always a big test for me when I was a goalkeeper coach here. Test the balls before you go out, and that was the problem. Some soft, some hard. You've got to get it right, Al.
I'll take your word for it, as Hemming knocks it up to the edge of the penalty area. It's headed on there by Phillips. Celtic get it clear, but only half clear, as Tanser picks up left hand side under pressure there from Johnston, trying to keep it in play, and referee pointing as if that's a St Mirren throw, and I thought it came off Tanser last, but no great argument from the Celtic players. So Killian Phillips will come across almost at the corner flag on the left hand side as St Mirren attack, looking to launch another long throw into the Celtic box. Still awaiting the opening goal here in 9 minutes, as Phillips throws it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, half clear by Johnson, but not entirely. Phillips gets another go at it, back post ball to Taylor. Olasanya's in there, header comes in, half clear again by Ida. Celtic just struggling to get it completely out of the danger area. That comes off Taylor. It'll be a throw-in over on the far side this time to St Mirren, still just a few yards away from that corner flag. Decent spell this for the visitors.
Yeah, and that's their opportunity now. You have to get up the pitch and get set pieces, winners, throw-ins, corners, free kicks. You always have an opportunity to put pressure on.
So Phillips has gone across to that right hand side to launch this one in. Mark O'Hara making the run towards the near post. It's over him though, and Celtic get out of the penalty area, but it will be returned by Fraser. This time Johnston heads further clear. Fraser will just let that bounce out of play over on the far side, just a few yards inside Celtic territory. We've played 10 now, and no goals. Celtic certainly the more threatening side in the opening exchanges, and the best opportunity falling to Adam Ida, just sending a header wide of the post after just a couple of minutes, as the ball's played back to Hemming at the edge of his area. He conceded 13 in 5 games against Celtic, as he's launched that to Olasanya, who brings it under control, plays it to the right hand side to Pomono back into the penalty area, away by Trusty, and Fraser made a bit of a hash of that pass to Gogic, but it eventually does find its way to the Cypriot international, and then O'Hara's bundled to the ground midway inside the Celtic half Carter Vickers unhappy with the decision, but it is a free kick.
Yeah, it was a trip though, you know, it was one of them. I don't think he meant it, but he just caught him as he was going to the ball, and he's giving away free kick. Gives an opportunity again for St Mirren. It's a good wee spell from St Mirren. They've broken sort of almost Celtic's rhythm from the start of the game, and they've been putting Celtic back on the back foot a little bit and playing in the Celtic half.
Caleb Boyd-Muntz over this free kick, midway inside Celtic territory, central area. Plenty of St Mirren bodies just at the edge of the penalty looking to get on the end of this. It's won by Tanzer, a looping header but well over the crossbar. No threat to Kasper Schmeichel's goal there as the Dane looks to get the game restarted quickly. Takes the goal kick short to Carter Vickers, who in turn feeds Johnston. Johnston's just overcooked that pass for Kuhn as Heyman comes out, and he probably could have gathered that in his arms, but he tried to kick it clear. It comes off Gogic and out for another Celtic corner on the right hand side.
Ali wasn't sure, was he? You know, was that ball that was played down the channel again? Gogic looked as if he was the favourite, but the goalkeeper obviously must have communicated. But you're right, he should have caught it and gone to ground rather than try to kick it. He's kicked it off Gogic for the corner. They've taken it short.
Yeah, McCowan now back to McGregor, works it back to the right hand side to Kuhn. Engels infield, he was looking for McCowan again, but Boyd-Muntz was in the way, and St Mirren hack it clear out for a throw-in. Stephen Robinson catching that one in his technical areas. It comes to him, and McGregor quickly takes the throw-in. Johnston plays it back to Schmeichel, beaten 3 times at Ibrox, which means Celtic's defensive record just looks a little bit worse obviously than it did prior to that one, but still only 7 goals conceded in 19 games. It's very, very good record, you'd have to say, on the whole, and I think clearly perspective has to be maintained in terms of looking at the result and the performance. It's not often that Celtic have hit that kind of form, and you would imagine they will remedy it pretty shortly. Dundee have gone 2-0 up. Palmer Holden adding to Simon Murray's earlier goal save. Palmer Holden, and it's looking ominous for St Johnstone at the foot of the table. You'd have to see as Kuhn plays in, looking for Maida. He's challenged by Buomono, and it will just break back to Zach Hemming. Buomono doing enough to put Maida off, denying him the opportunity to shoot. 13 minutes played here. It's Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, you know, again I go back to that Rangers game because trying to describe the difference between this game and then when they were not successful. Most of the passes from Maeda was almost from deeper. They were almost from the centre backs, and the midfielders not getting into those forward positions or the wingers, and then playing that sort of kind of diagonal ball. That he absolutely loves that ball when it's played from right to left, where he's getting in behind the fullback, and that was an instance again, just he couldn't keep his balance.
Taylor gave the ball away there. Richard Taylor, that is, of St Mirren, in a dangerous area, but the pass forward from McGregor was cut out well, and St Mirren have actually been awarded a free kick midway inside their own half for a pull there, and again a little bit of respite, but they have responded pretty well to a very fast start from Celtic, and it's still goalless. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We've already had an absolutely thrilling 3-3 encounter at Easter Road between Hibernian and Rangers. Catch highlights of that and all the other Premiership games at 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel and Sports Scene tonight, as Hemming plays the free kick straight down the middle. Trusty heads it. Phillips back into the Celtic penalty area. Again, it's Trusty who gets his head to it. He's got to take his chance today at the heart of the Celtic defence. Alongside Cameron Carter-Vickers, St Mirren play it forward, but it's shepherded behind it. But in any case, yes, it is a free kick in the end for the attention of Buomono on Greg Taylor as he just tried to see it out of play, and the free kick is quickly taken. We've played a quarter of an hour, and it's still 0-0 between Celtic and St Mirren. Same scoreline at Tannadice between Dundee United and Hearts. Killie, Ross County also goalless. Motherwell 1, Aberdeen 0. That's almost half time. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 2, as Dundee look to recover from their own derby defeat at home to United on Thursday. It was a sore one for them. It's behind for a goal kick to St Mirren here, and they'll be pleased they've got through the opening quarter of an hour without having conceded, Packy.
Yeah, very pleased, you know, because that whirlwind start from Celtic was almost within 5, 6, 7 minutes trying to get that first goal. and he didn't get it, and St Mirren will be very happy with that. Now they've settled into the game, they've broken up the rhythm a little bit, they've got in a little bit of times into the Celtic's half, they've got some set pieces that they've tried to capitalise on, and Celtic just need to keep that ball flowing to try and find the openings.
Trusty foul there by Olasanya. It was a good battle that was going on for possession. Eventually Olasanya too physical in his attempts to keep a hold of the ball, and Celtic get the free kick, which is already taken. McCowan just on this right hand side for Celtic at the moment, on the halfway line. Back to Carter Vickers it goes. Olasanya looks to press him, pass is played off to the left to Trusty, who crosses the halfway line and plays it out to the left to Maida. Back to Trusty once more, just inside the St Mirren half. He takes a touch, he's closed down by Phillips, and then he has to go back to Schmeichel, who takes a touch of his own and then plays it to Carter Vickers midway inside his own half, plays it square to Trusty. 16 and a half in, 0-0 at Celtic Park. Taylor forward for Engels, who's playing in the left of the midfield three, which is anchored as always, or virtually always, by Callum McGregor, and McCowan the right of those three. Engels back to Trusty once more. Trusty square for Carter Vickers. Yeah,
I was just going to say that Olasanya should take a book out of Igeman's sort of notepad by just staying between the two centre halves and not allowing that ball to be just shifted across between them, and that just allows then that extra pass maybe to have to go back to the goalkeeper to change the play, and allows your whole team to sort of shuffle across a little bit, and rather than just exactly what he's doing now, just force it, and then it goes back to the goalkeeper, then the rest of the team then can follow across the pitch.
Schmeichel forward, Johnston just flicks it on and it's out for a throw in. Johnston claiming it should have been his throw in, but I think he was chancing his luck there, and the referee not fooled by that, nor the assistant, and it's a St Mirren throw in taken by Richard Taylor into the feet of Olasanya midway inside the Celtic half, and he was tripped there, and it's a Celtic free kick. His mother will get a second, presumably just in the stroke of half time at Fir Park. Mazonisi is the latest goal scorer, and Aberdeen's travails continue as well. What a downturn it's been in their fortunes after a fabulous start, you'd have to say, but clearly some work still to be done as St Mirren get a free kick in a pretty useful position midway inside the Celtic half, left of centre, and Caelan Boyd-Munce will send this one into the penalty area, and St Mirren will try and snatch a surprise lead to the back post. He was looking, I think, for Gogic. It didn't quite reach him. It's headed away and out for a throw and over on the far side. We've played 18 and a half, and it's still goalless between Celtic and St Mirren. Yeah,
they got all their big players up there, Taylor, Gogic, Phillips coming in at the back post, and just the delivery was too long for me. Just put it in around about that penalty spot and try and get somebody on the end of it. Even if you get a header away at the back post, it's very difficult then to get a header back across to goal from that angle.
Phillips has worked it to Fraser down at the corner flag on the right hand side as St Mirren attacked, but it's poked clear by the Celtic defence. Gogic there to pick up, finds O'Hara, who in turn finds Richard Taylor, but he's played it off McCowan, and he's lucky to get away with that. The ball breaks back to St Mirren and they've played it forward. Tanzer now almost at the Celtic goal line, nods it back to Boyd-Munce. He takes a poor touch and Celtic pick up inside their own area, and it's McGregor just bringing a bit of calm to the proceedings. But Celtic haven't had it all their own way by any stretch in the opening almost 20 minutes here. Still 0-0 as Gogic was a good challenge on Ida. He had to time that right, and he got it right because he was coming in from behind, but plenty of the ball as Olasanya now is challenged by Ida coming back doing some defending, and he's fouled by Olasanya on the edge of his own box, and it's a free kick to Celtic. But St Mirren can be pretty pleased by the way they've begun this game, Packy.
Yeah, no, they're very happy the way the game is settled in for them now, and yeah, they're not overawed in any shape from Celtic getting the ball and been able to control it at the back, but not really penetrating them in the last sort of almost 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, no wins in 10 against Celtic since a 2-0 victory at home back in September 2022. That's Stephen Robinson's only win in 25 attempts against Celtic as a manager, both as Motherwell and St Mirren boss. Here's Maida, left hand side, first time I've really seen him. McCowan now flashes it into the 6-yard box. Ida forced away from goal, good defending initially, but more to do, you feel, for St Mirren here as Engels picks up 30 from goal, chips it into Maida, he nods it back, and Fraser taking no chances, heads it behind for a Celtic corner, this time from the left. 20 and a half minutes on the clock. Still Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, I did say about penetration, and that time Celtic moved the ball up the pitch, and they were able then to get players in. Initially Maeda, then the run from Adamida just held on, and he came back out to keep control of the ball, but they were able to get in behind that sort of almost submerged defence, which is the key for Celtic, I think.
Engels from the left-hand side, in swinger, it's going to come all the way to the back post, and Hemming gets an important glove to that. That might have swung all the way into the net had he not clawed that away, and it's going to be another corner, this time right-hand side. Vicious in-swinger, that one from Engels, as McCowan tries to take a quick short corner and kicks the corner flag, and he decides that he's going to just leave it to Engels in the end, having made a mess of that. This the Belgian comes across to the right-hand side to take this one as well. This will be an out-swinger if he does send it into the box, although Kuhn's available for a shorter version if he wants. The referee spotted something in the meantime in the 6-yard box that he's not happy with.
Yeah, it's Greg Taylor and Maeda sort of can almost in round about the goalkeeper's area, and what St Mirren have done, and I think they're right to do it, is to bring two players in there to kind of block off and give a little bit of space for the goalkeeper to operate. He's a big goalkeeper, tall, he's capable of dealing with the high ball.
Engels then from the right hand side, he wants Boyd Munce to retreat further, but the referee's happy with him. In it comes, dangerous delivery, but it's all the way through to McGregor on the far side of the penalty. He tries to play it back in, it's not a great ball. Womono gets it clear. Olasanya though runs into McGregor, and Celtic have it back. Stephen Robinson is furious about that. He can't believe that was given away so cheaply in a poor area when St Mirren might have broken. Engels almost in behind off a Kuhn flick, but Taylor does well, and he's then dragged to the floor. And although the Celtic fans aren't happy about the free kick being awarded, it looked like a pretty blatant foul on the quarter point of the game. It is still Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, you're right about Stephen Robertson. I've seen the reaction also, because it fell to the right man, Olasanya, and you know, the space, lots of space higher up the pitch for him if he could get it under control properly and go and attack that space with the pace he's got. He just couldn't get it totally under control, and he was closed down very quickly by the Celtic counter press.
It's half time at Fir Park. It's Motherwell 2, Aberdeen 0, and if that wasn't bad enough for Aberdeen, Rubezic has been ordered off just before half time, so a long way back for them, you feel, as Carter Vickers gets his head to the ball at the edge of his own area. Taylor plays it forward once more for St Mirren. It's cleared once more over the halfway line. Back goes Tanzer, just hooks it over his own head. Johnston will try and bring it under control. A poor touch from the Canadian fullback, and it's out of play for a St Mirren throw-in, and they'll be very content with the way things are going, but they will know that the threat from Celtic will continue as long as the game goes. Still 0-0 though at Celtic Park in this opening home fixture of 2025 for the champions. Forward it comes from Taylor from the throw-in, headed on by Tanzer, not once but twice. Carter Vickers getting the better of Olasanya, out of play once more from Johnston, and another St Mirren throw-in on this left-hand side. That defeat by Rangers ended a 34-game domestic unbeaten run for Celtic, which started all the way back last March in the defeat by Hearts at Tynecastle, and no doubt they'll be looking to put a similar type of run together over the next few months as McCowan tries to play it forward, claimed for handball against Taylor, but it's not forthcoming. Taylor does well, gets it forward. Kiltie though runs into trouble, and Celtic get it forward over the halfway line, but Fraser, the former Celtic youth player, plays it back to his goalkeeper Zach Hemming, who coolly just rolls it back out to Fraser. Now down the right hand side it goes for Phillips. It's a good ball and a good challenge also by Engels, having to go back and do some defending, but Stephen Robinson down there applauding his players, and rightly so, Pack. You'd have to say he's got his tactics pretty much spot on so far. Yeah, and he always knew that Celtic were going to come out firing in all cylinders at the start of the game, and you just got to hang in there, and they've done that successfully, and now they're, as you say, they're breaking the game up. They're not allowed Celtic to control it, get good control of the ball and possession, and they can be dangerous when they get into that final third. Celtic will always be dangerous on the counter-attack, with the pace of Kuhn and Maeda and so on, so they just got to be wary, and that defending behind the ball is critical when they push players forward. St Mirren. Another goal for Dundee at McDermott Park. This time it's Lyle Cameron to put them 3 goals to the good away against St Johnstone, the bottom side. is this the season that the Perth Saints eventually succumb and head down to the Championship? It's looking that way just at the moment, unless Simo Valakari can inspire some sort of remarkable turnaround the second half of the season. For a good scoreline, you'd have to say, for Tony Docherty's Dundee just at the moment. Throw into St Mirren here at Celtic Park. We've played 26 minutes, no goals to report as yet in this one, as St Mirren try and come forward, headed on by Boyd Munce midway inside his own half. Then he just plays it back the way to Fraser, a rather awkward ball to give him, but Fraser digs it out down the line. Taylor though is there and plays it forward. McGregor now square to Johnston inside the centre circle, plays it out to the right hand side, asking quite a lot of Kuhn, but he will catch it, the German, and then plays it away from Tanzer. But then Johnston and Kuhn both leave it to each other, but Kuhn's won it back from O'Hara, angle of the box. Now it's Johnston, big chances for Celtic, but it's straight into the arms of Zach Hemming, who dives in it as it comes into the 6-yard box from Johnston. Perhaps not his best delivery, but nonetheless good goalkeeping from Zach Hemming. 26 and a half played, Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, and listen, they got lucky there, Celtic. They won the ball back, but when that ball was played across that sort of almost about 4 yards out, the goalkeeper picked up a great position. He was almost sort of 2 yards off his post and anticipating that ball to be driven across into the 6-yard box, and was able to collect it. Good goalkeeping.
Kind of area where Kyogo might have beaten him to it though had he been on the field of play, but he's on the bench this afternoon to start with. No doubt we'll see him at some stage as Celtic have possession midway inside their own half. Johnston just drops the shoulder and moves away from Kiltie. It's Trusty now moving forward for Celtic out to the left hand side to Greg Taylor. Taylor keeps it going down the left for Maida up against Womono here, about 35 yards, but being forced back by Elvis Womono. Good play from the defender, but still Maida has it, still being forced back. The way he goes back to the halfway line to Trusty. He's closed down by Olasanya. Now it's Greg Taylor left hand side, he's being hounded by Marcus Fraser. St Mirren pressing when the time is right.
Yeah, really good pressing there from Pomona, and just not allowing Maeda to get enough space to get his head up and maybe pick a pass, and forcing them all the way back.
Here's McGregor midway inside the St Mirren half, plays it square to Johnston. Johnston out to the right to Kuhn, looking to add to his 14 goals for the season at some stage in this game. He's on the right hand side now, gets a decent ball into the box. It's just too high for Maida to make anything of it, but Greg Taylor will catch it left hand side. Just plays it short in field to Engels midway inside the St Mirren half. Taylor takes over once more. You go all the way back to the halfway line and start again with Trusty. McGregor comes short for it and plays it back to Trusty. He'll go back to his goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel, is midway inside his own half. Now it's Carter Vickers just inside St Mirren territory. Right hand side now is Kuhn. He goes back to Carter Vickers. Stephen Robinson urging his players to keep up the good start they've made to the game. Carter Vickers under considerable pressure. He was fouled in the end by Mark O'Hara, who's furious at the decision. I think it's probably just about right, but again it's another good example of St Mirren putting Celtic under pressure in good areas. Yeah,
they're just coming across it, putting that sort of almost block, that shield between Kiltie, O'Hara and Olasanya, just to force Celtic, and using then the byline to force Carter Vickers almost into a cul-de-sac and not being able to switch the play.
Here is Carter Vickers with plenty of time and space to pick his next pass, which is out to Kuhn on the right hand side. Midway inside the St Mirren half, looks for the run of Ida, who's just behind him as he stretched that big right leg out. He couldn't bring it under control, and it's all the way through to Zach Hemming, who is looking to keep a clean sheet, because St Mirren have only managed 2 all season, and obviously this isn't the easiest place to do it, but they've managed that in the opening half hour at least. Only Dundee, with their one, have kept fewer clean sheets in the Premiership over the course of this season so far. Here's Callum McGregor on the halfway line, plays it out to the right hand side to Johnston, midway inside the St Mirren half now. Kuhn, and it comes to Taylor, who's midway inside that St Mirren half, tries to dink it forward for Maida, but Womono jumps high enough to cut that one out and heads it out on the far side for a Celtic throw-in to be taken by Taylor. Back the way to Trusty, just inside his own half. Quarter of an hour of the first period remaining. Still no goals between Celtic and St Mirren. Same at same at Tannadice between United and Hearts, and also at Rugby Park between Kilmarnock and Ross County. Goals though in the other two. Motherwell leading 2-0 at half-time against Aberdeen, and St Johnstone 0, Dundee 3. Sorry, Packy, on you go.
No, I was just going to say that apart from that opening sort of salvo from Celtic where they put balls into the sort of 6-yard box, and they haven't really tested the goalkeeper, have they? There haven't been any clear opportunities. The goalkeeper's got to come up with the big saves.
No, but you would imagine those will come in time. They generally do here at Celtic Park for the home side. It was such an impressive home record, winning 17 of their last 19 home league games, just the 2 draws in there since a 2-0 reverse against Hearts in December of 2023. So they usually find a way, sometimes emphatically, less often it's a struggle, but thus far certainly St Mirren have kept them at bay. But Maida trying to change that down the left hand side, gets to the byline, can he catch it? If he's managed to get that into the penalty area, he's done really well, just managing to get there before it crossed the goal line. Headed away though, out for a throw-in over on the far side to Celtic, to be taken by Greg Taylor into the feet of McCowan. McCowan back to Taylor, about 15 yards from the corner flag. McCowan takes over again, he digs out the cross from the left hand side, over Kuhn and Tanzer, comes to Johnston about 25 yards from goal, closed down by O'Hara, plays it back the way to his skipper Callum McGregor, and now Trusty out to Taylor, left hand side, swings in the cross just over Ida, it'll come past Tanzer, and he'll just see it out of play before Kuhn can get there. St Mirren goal kick, and it's still after 32 minutes here. Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, any ball that's been played into Adam Ida so far has either gone the wrong side of him or is a little bit too high. He just hasn't been able to get on the end of things. Whether I think it's more about the pass rather than his movement.
Zach Hemming taking his time over a goal kick, which is irking some around Celtic Park. Hence the whistles and boos. He eventually launches it long over the halfway line. Phillips beaten in the jump by Trusty. McGregor chests it down and then finds McCowan. McCowan steps away and finds a pass for Maida. Maida in for Kuhn. There's the opening goal, tucked away by that man Nicholas Kuhn, who makes it 15 for the season. A sweeping move forward from the league leaders, and Maida in from the left, first time taken by Nicholas Kuhn under the body of Zach Hemming, and it's Celtic 1, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, that penetrating pass for Maeda with his pace, and he makes a right decision, just plays it across in between the goalkeeper and the defenders, and there was Kuhn following up, and just all he had to do is get good contact on it, low and underneath the goalkeeper into the corner of the net. So Celtic get that vital goal, the goal that they were desperate for, because St Mirren had sort of kind of settled into the game. They were making it difficult for them, but I did say when they get into those areas and they get penetration in behind the defence, there's always the opportunity with the pace that they have up front and the quality.
Yeah, there was a quick check there for an offside, but the goal has been awarded. VAR are happy with it, and so Celtic do have the breakthrough. The first shot on target really that I can remember. The only other threat on Zach Hemming's goal was that Ida header after a couple of minutes that went wide, but as I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, eventually you expect that they will find a good chance, and it was such a clinical attack, so swift it was that went forward down the left hand side, Maida into Ida, and it's now 8 Premiership goals from Nicholas Kuhn, 15 all told. It's a terrific season he's been having, Packy. Back it goes to Kasper Schmeichel as Celtic then with a 1-goal advantage 10 minutes before the interval, and it's a different job that St Mirren have to do now. They won't, you would imagine, come out of their shape just yet, but at some stage they'll have to if they want to take anything from this contest. But here's Maida now as Celtic get their tails up and look to add to their advantage. Carter Vickers now just at the edge of the centre circle, out to the right hand side to the goal scorer Kuhn. He approaches the penalty box. Richard Taylor read his intentions well. He just tried to come inside, and Taylor stepped across and dispossessed him, and now finds Greg Kiltie left hand side crossing the halfway line. Callum McGregor with him. Kilty goes back the way. Oh, that's a wayward one, and Zach Hemming's coming to come out his goal, and he's done well. And he just needs to clear his lines here, does Hemming, and he eventually does that as the ball back the way from Kilty went between two St Mirren players. They both left it for each other, and Ida would have been in but for Zach Hemming rushing from his goal there, Packy.
Yeah, well, obviously Richard Taylor then was out of position, but the goalkeeper again read the game. He's stayed alive. He came up the pitch as the ball was going forward and picked up a good position to deal with that through ball.
Here's McCowan getting turned midway inside the St Mirren half, tries to find Ida. Taylor jumps high enough though to head it clear. Now Phillips midway inside his own half, right hand side is Womono, just lets the ball drift beyond them and before playing it up towards Olasanya. Olasanya lays it all for Phillips and then makes the run in the channel. Carter Vickers has come across. Olasanya, can he get the ball into the middle quickly? He's got a couple of light blue jerseys to hit, but in the end he just fires it straight into the gloves of Kasper Schmeichel. I felt he had to play that first time, Packy, for that to come off for St Mirren. Yeah,
unlike what Maeda did, he could have played that ball into Greg Kilty, who could have maybe got on the end of it as he was up level. I think it was, I'm not sure, it must have been Johnson that he was level or what, but he got to play it into the space. He delayed and that was it, gone.
Taylor looking for Ida, but that's too close to Hemming, who comes off his line and clutches that one with 37 minutes almost on the clock. Celtic have the advantage by a goal to nil as they look to begin another long unbeaten run in the Premiership. As Hemming launches it long, that's going to go all the way through though to Kasper Schmeichel. Hemming apologises, just too much on that for Olasanya, but it's equally been given away by Schmeichel, this time to Tanzer, and he'll pick up inside his own half and play it to Taylor, and now Boyd Muntz about 10 yards inside his own half, out to the right hand side to Fraser. Now Womono back to Phillips. Phillips will just try and play it. Yeah, I reckon Olasanya is offside, but the flag eventually goes up after a couple of seconds delay. Olasanya looked clearly offside to us, and Olasanya just kicking the ball away, and Grant Irvin's having a word with them. No more. The fans furious, they want a yellow card. I don't see why Olasanya would be all that keen to waste time in a game that his side are losing by a goal to nil, but there you are. Free kick is taken, and now Engels onto the halfway line for Johnston, right hand side, looks for the run. Ovida's too much in the pass, behind for a goal kick to St Mirren, who have it all to do if they are to change their fortunes in this fixture. They've lost the last 6 since a 2-2 here in May of 2023 when Celtic had already won the league under Ange Postecoglou, and it'll take some turnaround in this game for them to certainly record a victory, but even to take anything from the game, you'd imagine, as Hemming takes the goal kick with about 6.5 minutes of the first half left. 1-0 Celtic lead thanks to Nicholas Kuhn's goal on 33 minutes. Here's Taylor just on the halfway line, left hand side, plays it to Engels. Engels takes a couple of touches, then tries to find Johnston. It's a poor pass. Johnston will scamper and keep it in play. He's done really well, and Nicholas Kuhn manages to hold on to possession as well. Johnston doing his teammate Engels a real favour there with a poor pass from the Belgian, but Celtic now are able to come forward. It's Engels getting it to McGregor. Left hand side is Taylor, midway inside the St Mirren half. Engels on to Johnston. Johnston now 25 yards, thought about the shot, then plays it to the right to Kuhn. Kuhn right hand side of the box, into the box he comes, allows Taylor to come back and make the challenge, then he overruns it. Kilty makes the challenge, Kuhn's able to keep it and get it to McGregor. Now Taylor pressurised, but gets the pass off to Kuhn, who in turn finds McCowan, 35 from goal, out to Maida at the angle of the box. He's just miscontrolled that and allows Womono to take it off his toes, and now the St Mirren wing back will just fire it forward, looking for Olasanya. Trusty though beats him to it and finds Taylor, who in turn plays it to McCowan. McCowan clips that to Kuhn, tries to bring it under control with the head, but it's a difficult one for him to take, and St Mirren pick up, but they've given it away. Tanzer to McGregor, and now right hand side is Engels, who'll curl it in dangerously, and both Hemming and his defenders left it, but Maida couldn't get on the end of it. It's gone all the way through to the far side for a throw-in to St Mirren. 5 left in the first half. Celtic 1, St Mirren 0.
No, it was a good cross. It was a decent cross into that sort of no man's land between the goalkeeper and the defence. Just Maeda, I don't think he was going to get on the end of it, but he had made the run. It just was a little too high for him, and and he couldn't get on the end of it. Yeah, St Mirren giving the ball away, and Tanza giving it away in a bad area and just keeping the pressure on themselves.
Yeah, they're putting more pressure on themselves. St Mirren with a kind of strange back pass there, but Alex Gogic has done well to hold off Adamida and ensure it drifts behind for what in the end is a goal kick, which will be taken by Zach Hemming.
They don't have to change anything, St Mirren. I know they're 1-0 down, but you know, as long as they stay in that situation as the game goes on, get in at half time, they've got 5 minutes or so, maybe a wee bit longer to survive this first half. Get in, talk about the good things they've been doing, and then hope to get to a point where they can maybe still have a chance to get something out of the game.
Gogic nods it back to his goalkeeper again with about 4 minutes of the 45 left, plus a little bit of stoppage time you'd expect. Not too much, there haven't been too many stoppages in the game. They always tend to find some reason to add a bit of time on. As Maida, Zach Hemming has come out of his goal, and he's just managed to get a foot to that to prevent Maida perhaps hitting the target from about 40 yards. But what on earth was he doing coming so far out of his goal? We'll have another chat about that in a minute as Celtic continue to come forward. Right hand side is Johnston standing up to the back post. Bomono chests it behind. Zach Hemming just got a rush of blood to the head, and he's managed to get the ball clear, but I'm not sure what he was thinking, Packy.
I can't tell you what he was thinking, because he first and foremost he tried to volley the ball. It was a poor volley, and it went straight to Maeda, who knocked it forward into space, and as you say, a rush of blood. Wrong decision, comes way off his line, and he was so lucky. Even if Maeda had to go round him, he was in trouble, but Maeda tried to play it first time, and he was lucky just to get a block on it.
Corner kick then left hand side for Celtic as it looked to add to their advantage before the half time whistle. In swinger, glance goalwards and into the back of the net from Austin Trusty. Engels corner on a plate, and the glancing header at the near post to the far post for Austin Trusty, who gets his first Celtic goal to make it Celtic 2, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, listen, nobody picking him up. He's made that run across almost to the near post area, the same kind of run the Scales makes, and this time he was able to glance his header with it was a really good corner. That pace on the ball, all you've got to do is just steer it on target, goes into the back of the net, but St Mirren will be so. Yeah, I'm trying to see who was picking him up here. I'm just looking at it on the monitor up above us. I'm not sure who was picking up, but he gave him far too much room to allow him to get a free header, and the goalkeeper had no chance. But St Mirren will be sort of going in at half times, you know, what about 2 minutes to go, critical time before half time. Obviously for the team who scores it's brilliant, for the team who loses the goal it just changes the whole conflict. Even the manager's team talk will have to change.
Yeah, St Mirren haven't done an awful lot wrong in this first half, but they find themselves 2 goals behind as Olisanya chases the ball into the area. Carter Vickers trying to avoid conceding the corner kick, and he's managed to do so, knocking it out for a throw-in instead. But St Mirren, 2-goal deficit now, as you say, Packy. That does change the whole complexion of the manager's team talk, and probably does force them to have to come out a little bit more in the second half, and that will leave them susceptible potentially to Celtic counters if St Mirren do throw a few more bodies forward. Let's see how this final couple of minutes of the first half pan out as Fraser just lofts it high into the edge of the Celtic penalty area. Ida can't get it clear, but Johnston can, only as far as Richard Taylor. Left hand side, cross comes Johnston to get it further clear. Good touch from Boyd Muns. He knocks it back to Gogic, who just gets the pass off to Fraser before Maida closes him down. It's going to be a minute added on at the end of this first period as Bomono picks up right hand side about 15 yards from the goal line as St Mirren come forward. Decent ball in, Olisanya climbing all over Carter Vickers there. The flag's up for offside in any event, but slightly unconventional that from Olisanya, and it will be a free kick to Celtic inside their own penalty area as it looks like we're heading in half time with Celtic and a 2-goal advantage.
Yeah, it was a good ball in there. You had pace on it right across the 6-yard box, but you're right, Olisanya, he used his hands, his body, and he was also offside, so it's 1 minute to play extra time in this first half.
Yeah, we're into that right now. Celtic with a 2-goal advantage as Taylor almost gives it away. In fact, St Mirren have picked up possession. McGregor couldn't get onto that. Here's O'Hara. Can St Mirren and Olasanya find a way back into the game just before the interval? Tanzer now standing up to the back post. Out comes Schmeichel, gets a glove to it, and then is able to gather it. Good goalkeeping from the experienced Dane to make sure that Celtic don't concede before the half-time whistle goes. And Austin Trusty picks up possession, having given his side that 2-goal advantage from the corner. First Celtic goal for the American international just before the interval, and St Mirren will have it all to do in the second period as Maida has it left-hand side, and Grant Irvin's half-time whistle sounds with Celtic taking a while to make the breakthrough. Their only chance inside the opening half hour fell to Adam Ida. That did fall inside the opening couple of minutes actually. Engels picking him out, and Ida's header though drifting just the wrong side of the post as far as he was concerned. St Mirren got themselves pretty well organised, were doing a good job, but they were cut open, you'd have to say, by an incisive Celtic move that ended with Maida from the left hand side picking out Kuhn, whose first time finish went under the body of Zach Hemming on 33 minutes to give Celtic the lead. And then 10 minutes later, an Engels corner from the left hand side was met at the near post by a glancing Austin Trusty header, and it was in at the far post beyond Hemming to give Celtic a 2-goal advantage, which they held till half time, where it stands Celtic 2, St Mirren 0.
Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
Alan, but what he has, when he has been called upon, cross balls and, you know, couple of strikes at goal, but nothing really testing. So I think Jim Goodwin would have hoped, hence the 2 substitutions, I would suggest that he would have been tested more. But great to see Craig Gordon, 42-year-old, quite incredible.
Welcome back to listeners who've been tuned into the commentary from Celtic Park. Celtic leading St Mirren by 2-0. Just talking about Craig Gordon, and we touched on earlier, these saves to make sure they got all 3 points against Motherwell. Outstanding.
Half-time at Rugby Park, Kenny, 0-0.
Thanks, Rory.
Yeah, and I heard obviously in the summer that he was a little bit keen on going to St Johnstone. We let off a little rumour there, but
really?
Yeah, I heard obviously because Xander Clark was sort of number one, and Craig wanted to play. I think obviously having worked with Craig Levine before, there was, I was hearing strong whispers that was a viable option for St Johnstone. It was one that they didn't go down. So I don't know how far down the road it went, but I know that Craig was open to joining St Johnstone if that was to arise, but
that would, my goodness, would have them.
I don't know how it's possible, but Ryan's just made the St Johnstone fans' day worse.
I'm going to make it even worse.
Right.
Their highest paid player at the club has not kicked a ball for them this season.
Uche?
Yep, not a kick.
Yeah,
he's having a nice time down in Cumbria on New Year and Christmas, but not kicked a ball for the club.
But I mean, that's another striker, isn't it? I mean, you know, that's the problem is at the back. I mean, Alan, you're saying there's not a lot of money to spend there, but a goalkeeper and at least
here
one.
We go again. Well, here we go again. Tiffany. Honestly, St John. I get they've got to commit bodies forward, but it's man for man. Sometimes they're a man light.
Right. Ryan McGowan has got his head in his hands. Steve McGowan has got both his hands on top of his head.
Listen, if you've caught it, you might get a game for St Johnstone in the goals if you've caught your head.
You're right. If they could have got Craig Gordon, what a difference that could have made. His experience, his knowledge of the game. They are really. We've seen the pictures there. Simo Valakari. He's got his hand in his chin, pondering, I'm sure, what on earth he can do in the second half. But I think the reality is nothing to get anything out of this game, given how dominant Dundee have been in the match.
Limitations.
You
can give him the phone number of that fan that you spoke to.
Do you know what, Will? That's a good shout. That is a good shout. What about these Hearts fans then? It's been a lean season for them, Willie Miller, but a better showing in the first half at Tannadice?
Yeah, very good showing. They've dominated the game. 1,800 of them that has made the journey through. A crowd of 10,000 here, Kenny. But the home fans have been quiet. I will be interested to hear the reaction at half-time to see if the home fans are happy enough with the display. I don't think the manager is. It's been a poor effort from them, but it has made the changes. You know, it hasn't been frightened to make early changes. But Hearts have been the more dominant team, created the better opportunities. 3 decent opportunities they've created, and really played the better football as well.
Eddie Wumi with a brilliant run, and it's Mikulic. He just fires it across the goal. Mikulic has not got a clue where it's going. It hits his right shin, just goes wide of the target, almost 4-0.
Yeah, just watching that there, it's hard to take your eyes off that game because we've got one screen which got the Motherwell Aberdeen game on it full screen. The other game's got the TV split into the 4 games. But every time I look up, my eyes are drawn to McDermott Park.
There's a couple of situations where we've obviously got a slight delay, a couple of seconds in the footage. See if you press pause, St Johnstone are actually in a good shape.
0-0.
They're in a good shape.
Thanks, Willie.
It's like any sort of play, any sort of kind of ball into the box, they look like they might concede, and it should be a situation where they're in control defensively.
Yeah, they certainly are struggling. Just seeing pictures of Liam Boyce coming off there. He's certainly added to Hearts.
At McDermott, St Johnstone 0, you can hear the boos. Dundee well on top 3.
Yeah, major problems for Simo Valakari. Very nice indeed for Tony Docherty bouncing back from that huge disappointment in the Dundee derby. So let's get back to Stephen Craigan well into the second half there. Just seen the Dons in the attack there, Stephen.
I have to say, Kenny, Aberdeen have been so much better with 10 players. Sometimes there's a conscious effort that when you go down a player, everyone has to work that. Nicky, they should be 2-1. Nicky Devlin with a shot across goal. I think it's Kofi Bammer may get a touch on it, but it looked as if Duke was just going to head it in at the back post.
What a chance.
But it just shows you, subconsciously the players have taken something on board. There's more energy about the team. They're retaining the ball better. Motherwell look as if they're the team with 10 players. There's a bit of panic around the stadium. There's 3 or 4 boys in front of me jumping about, waving their arms. Motherwell winning 2-0, and it feels as if they're losing 2-0. So Aberdeen have all the momentum, but they need a goal to try and put a little bit of doubt into Motherwell.
Yeah, just a reminder, it was a 2:30 start at Fir Park, so we'll keep Stephen Craigan's mic open there. So if you hear anything at all, Stephen will give us a wee shout on that. Our commentary match this afternoon comes from Celtic Park. Celtic at home to St Mirren. Stephen Thompson is on open all mics duty for us. Our commentary team there, Pat Bonner and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks, Kenny. Celtic 2, St Mirren 0.
From Sports Sound.
Brilliant drop of the shoulder. What a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Take 2 out. Yeah, that wasn't quite what I was expecting. That was quite the introduction there. Celtic 2, St Mirren 0 at half time. It's been a curious one because St Mirren for half an hour or so defended really well organised, causing a couple of problems of their own, certainly getting up the park a fair bit. The only threat to Zach Hemming back in the St Mirren goal after coming in on loan again was in a couple of minutes when Engels put a really good ball into the box, and Adam Ida should probably have done better than head just wide of the post. But beyond that, St Mirren had kept Celtic at bay, but they were carved open just beyond the half-hour mark. The ball was played through to Maida in the left channel, and he hit a ball into the box for the onrushing Nicholas Kuhn, who hit it first time under the body of Zach Hemming to make it 1-0. Nicholas Kuhn with a 15th goal of the season. What a season he has been having. And just before the interval, they doubled that advantage. Engels again was involved with a corner kick this time from the left-hand side, and Austin Trusty made the near post run, glanced it to the far post and into the net it went for his first Celtic goal to make it 2-0. Really, I think that probably the only 2 shots on target, Packy, but you probably, can St Mirren feel hard done by to be 2 goals down at the interval, would you say?
Yeah, you could say that, obviously, because they grew back into the game after the first probably 5-10 minutes when Celtic really started with a flurry and got themselves higher up the pitch. But that second goal just changes the whole context of this game, and the manager, Stephen Robertson, will be sort of going into that half-time sort of discussion with his players, and now he will have to change his narrative and almost trying to get them to be a little bit more progressive, even more than they have been in the first half, and try to get something back in this game, because the longer the game goes, if they don't get into it, then the game just drifts away from them. And Celtic, you could see them going on, maybe scoring 1 or 2 more, but Celtic be delighted to get that goal just before half time.
Yeah, does change things. You would have to say Celtic on course for a 7th straight win over St Mirren and to move 13 clear of Rangers at the top of the table. It's Celtic 2, St Mirren 0.
Thanks to Al, Andrew, Pat. Full second half commentary to come from them. Celtic against St Mirren. Stephen Thompson on open all mics duty for us. Dundee United are at home to Hearts this afternoon. There for us, Willie Miller.
Yeah, Kenny, in a half-time, it's goalless here, unfortunately. It's not been a great game of football. Certainly Dundee United sitting third in the table. You're expecting more from them, but Hearts have been the better side, so much so that Jim Goodwin made changes in the second half, 3/4 away through that second half, and O'Dada went off, Thompson went off, and Rinder Sandy came on, and Ross Docherty in the midfield. Craig Gordon has not had a shot to save. He's had a couple of crosses to deal with, and he's been pretty effective in dealing with the crosses. The chances have fallen to the visitors. 18-yard line, just outside the box. Musa has a shot. He didn't get enough direction on it. Decent kind of a power behind the strike, but it was straight at Walton, who took it pretty easily. Liam Boyce then had a cross-come shot that skiffed off the front face of the crossbar. Could have easily have dropped in because Walton was off his line, so he was relieved to see it slide off the bar and go out to the left-hand side. Then Craig Halkett should have done better from a corner. He managed to escape his marker. He was running back the way. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't get enough purchase on his jump to get power in the header, and it was a rather weak header at the back post. Should have done a lot better. Other than that, there hasn't been any great opportunities. The play has been not entertaining. There's a 10,000 crowd here, 1,800 coming from Edinburgh to support the visitors, and they've been disappointed. I'm sure that Jim Goodwin will have been disappointed with the performance, but it is still 0-0, and I don't think he'll care if he can manage to turn that round and get an all-important goal and take the 3 points from this game. That would make it 4 victories in the trot. So all to play for in the second half. We hope it's better. 0-0 here at Tannadice.
Yeah, let's hope things improve there. Also, I think that's a same comment that would apply to your game at Rugby Park. Rory Loy, Kilmarnock against Ross County.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally lift, copy and paste Willie's half-time report up at Tannadice, and down here's the same, because Kilmarnock are the home side, they're higher up in the table, and it's the away side who have been slightly better and had the better of the chances without being great. They have been the better side, and of course it is 0-0 at half time as well. Now, there's been no changes from Derek McInnes other than an enforced one when Cameron Innes had to hobble off and Marley Watkins came on. I feel sorry for Cameron Innes actually, because he's waited a long time, Innes Cameron for an opportunity. And he's got it today because Vassell's injured and he's had to hobble off injured himself after a few minutes. On 13 minutes, Josh Nisbet's one-on-one with Robbie McCrory. He should have done better. He should have scored, in my opinion. I think if he lifts his head, shows a little bit more composure, which he has shown over the last few weeks in certain areas, he may have put his team 1-0 up, but it was saved by Robbie McCrory. He made himself big, he spread himself and made the save. On 32 minutes, Captain Randall forced McCrory into another save where he tipped a shot over the bar. County have had a good few corners and looked more threatening without battering down the door or anything close to that. And as Willie says, hopefully things improve down here in the second half as well as at Tannadice, because it's 0-0.
Thank you to Rory Loy. Let's then get to a game that has had plenty of goals and plenty of drama. St Johnstone at home to Dundee. Let's hear from Alan Preston.
At a half-time score, Kenny, St Johnstone 0, Dundee 3, and as early as 2 minutes Dundee took the lead. It's a free kick played in, the keeper Ray comes out, he drops it under a little bit of pressure, not a foul for me. It drops eventually to Simon Murray, back to goal, gets turned and knocks it home with his left foot for 1-0. It was 2-0 in 10 minutes, a corner headed out by St Johnstone to Cameron at the edge of the box for Dundee. He played it back in, Murray nods it across, and Palmer Holdham was there, albeit another Dundee player was behind him to knock it into the back of the net. Lyle Cameron then had a shot over, but it was 3-0 and Cameron get in on the act in 22 minutes. Ashley with a great run down the right, his cross picked out Cameron and he first touched the control, second one he bends it into the far corner. 3-0, 22 minutes. St Johnstone had a couple of chances. Essel cross with a Clark header just wide, then Sidibe to Kimpioka cuts inside with the whole goal and he blasts his shot wide as well. But just before half time it was almost 4-0. Palmer Holdham with a wonderful strike, good save by Ray, 1. Total domination. This game's done. It's all about how many. Half-time score, St Johnstone 0, Dundee 3.
Thanks, Alan Preston. A choice of listening once again on Sports. And for commentary of Celtic against St Mirren, tune to digital 810 medium wave and BBC Radio Scotland Extra on BBC Sounds. For open all mics, tune to BBC Radio Scotland on 92 to 95 FM and BBC Sounds. And you can follow all the action live online, bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland.
Welcome back to Celtic Park for live second half commentary of Celtic against St Mirren. Celtic leading by 2-0 at the interval, and as Packy was saying at half time, that second goal from Austin Trusty just before the interval completely changes things as far as St Mirren are concerned. You do feel that they will have to try and come out and try something a little bit different in the second period to get back into the contest, but it would take an awful big turnaround, Packy, for Celtic to drop any points in this one.
Yeah, I think the first 10 minutes of this game now will be critical for probably both teams. If St Mirren could get something back early on, it gives them something to really play for, but the longer the game goes on, if Celtic get that third goal, then the game just is finished. They'll be delighted, Celtic, to get bounce back from Thursday and get themselves in front in this game. Struggle a little bit at times just to maybe penetrate, but when he did penetrate, that ball from Maeda just across that man Kuhn again, getting into a great position for a winger, isn't he? Right inside the box, and then just showing the ability to finish beyond Hemming and the St Mirren goal, and what a return he's had. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah,
with
I'm not
goalkeeper.
sure. Zach Hemming's lingering around on the touchline on the halfway line for some reason. Maybe just waiting he's having a word with his manager right now. I suspect he's waiting for the kit man to bring him something, or here we go. It's
a towel. It's a towel
there
in
we
a
are.
cold. He's definitely not sweating anyway, I wouldn't think, in a cold day like this, but the towel's very important for him, so he's got his towel and he's away to his goal.
So Celtic preparing to get us back underway, going from right to left in this second half with that 2-goal advantage in place. No changes for either side at the interval. Luke McCowan is poised to kick us off once more. Celtic, you would imagine, looking to add further goals to they've scored in that first period, and off we go again for the second half as McGregor gets it out to Johnston right hand side, and Nicholas Kuhn, who will be another big threat in this second half, you would imagine, to that St Mirren backline. Now Trusty, the other goal scorer for Taylor, and now Engels to Trusty once more. Taylor, Engels, little triangle from Celtic midway inside their own half, and then Trusty plays it square just outside the penalty area to Carter Vickers, over to the right hand side to Alistair Johnston. Celtic just looking to keep possession and frustrate St Mirren for as long as possible at the start of this second half. Don't want to offer them a cheap way back into the game as Schmeichel gets his first touch of the second half and plays it quickly to Carter Vickers, out to the right to Johnston. Johnston slides it forward up to the halfway line to Kuhn. Kuhn back to McGregor, and now Johnston once more. St Mirren can't get near the ball in the opening few seconds of the half. Trusty now midway inside his own half. Wow, power cut momentarily at Celtic Park, and actually have no idea if you're still with us, but I will keep talking just in case. But incredibly, every single light inside Celtic Park went out there, and I must admit, Packy, I'm not sure if we're still on air or not.
Back on again.
Yeah, I've never witnessed anything like that, certainly not at Celtic Park. That is a big power cut.
That's it. Maybe have they paid the bill? But certainly they went out, but are back on again very, very quickly. Normally, if that happened in the old days with the floodlight system, you would have to wait probably a long time for the lights to come back on, but obviously new systems nowadays.
Well, play continuing pretty quickly actually after that complete blackout for a second or two, and as I say, I will continue with this commentary, not knowing just at the moment whether I am broadcasting to the nation or otherwise, but anyway, it's good practice as Marcus Fraser has the throw in on the right hand side, about 15 yards inside the Celtic half. Still 2-0 as at the start of this second period. VAR's communication and everything went down there momentarily, but it's been quickly restored, as I say, and Carter Vickers now has it at the edge of his own penalty area. Someone obviously pulling a plug out that they weren't supposed to there, just for a moment, quickly realising the mistake, as Callum McGregor has it midway inside his own half, plays it to Taylor out to the left hand side for Trusty to come forward over the halfway line, further forward to Maida down the left. Maida left hand side for Celtic, goes back the way to Trusty infields for McGregor, about 5 yards inside the St Mirren half. Now McCowan back to Carter Vickers, back out to the right hand side to Nicholas Kuhn. Taylor goes across, where he's just drifted away from him, plays it forward to McCowan. Misread the run there of Alistair Johnston, but it's kept in play by Kuhn, and now McGregor for Trusty midway inside the St Mirren half. Phillips comes out to meet him. Greg Taylor though in support, and it goes to Ida, edge of the box, gets turned, lays it off for Engels on the right foot, gets the shot away, is blocked by Richard Taylor. He just hacks it away. Trusty though nods it to the right hand side to McCowan picks up under pressure there from O'Hara, plays a short pass to McGregor, and now Johnston, and Celtic playing with a high tempo, but that forward pass is cut out and knocked up to the halfway line, where Carter Vickers will pick up and then play it forward once more to Greg Taylor. Taylor out to the left hand side to Austin Trusty, just as Taylor picked up that position that he often finds himself in, packing effectively as a central midfielder. It just brings to mind an issue that Kieran Tierney had when he was asked to do similar for Arsenal under Mikel Arteta, and I seem to recall that he had a bit of difficulty adapting to that, and effectively was one of the reasons why he kind of fell out of the first team picture at Arsenal, and if he does come back to Celtic, you would imagine that's something he's going to have to be able to learn.
I don't think he can do that role, actually. I think Greg Taylor probably, in Scotland anyway, is probably the best playing that role. Now sometimes he overdoes it, he finds himself over on the other side of the pitch and so on, but Kieran Tierney, if you think back to when Kieran Tierney was at his best here, he was always playing as an outside left, high up the pitch. It was Michael Lustig that sort of kind of sat as a right back, but sat in almost, so they went to almost three at the back, and Tierney was the one, and that meant then that the winger would come on to the pocket and play in the pocket, a completely different way of playing. So that adaptation might be something that they would. I don't know what's going on here. Is it VAR maybe?
Yeah, I'm assuming we don't have any communications on this, but the referee is talking to both managers and the fourth official now. We had that momentary blackout here at Celtic Park. It seemed like VAR had been restored, but I think perhaps the communication's been lost, and so the referee, you would guess, is saying to the managers, look,
happy to carry on.
Yeah, you're happy to carry on if there's no VAR. We're kind of guessing here at Celtic Park, but that would be an educated stab at what's going on there. But play is continuing again. I haven't heard any VAR myself in my ear for a few minutes, but that's not necessarily unusual in itself. But regardless, play is carrying on at Celtic Park on that left hand side. St Mirren trying to work it forward. Still 2-0 then to Celtic with 6 minutes of the second half gone. Olasanya challenged there by Austin Trusty, and he stayed down the St Mirren front man, and now the referee is going to stop play. I think perhaps concerned that it's a head knock. I wasn't sure that it was, but he's going to allow treatment if required in any case, Grant Irvine, and it's going to be a drop ball. I think he's checked with Olasanya as to whether he needs treatment. The striker presumably.
I think he's going to get bang in his ribs, because he was brave actually, because Trusty looked favourite to go and head that ball, and he's just sort of almost come across him, and Trusty sort of kind of almost bangs into him, and that's just wounded him a little bit, but he's fine, he's back on his feet.
Trusty then back to Schmeichel at the edge of his penalty area, plays it to McGregor under a bit of pressure, but again Celtic play out of that press pretty well as Engels combines with McGregor and gets it to Carter Vickers. Here is Carter Vickers getting it back off Johnson and then playing the ball to Taylor, who's in that tucked in position, and then plays it on to Maida. Maida hits the byline, tries to get it across goal. It's knocked away but not totally clear, and Hemming has to save with his feet as he went down to his right. The ball was deflected and eventually had to stick out the left boot, I think, to keep that from crossing the goal line and going into the back of the net for a third St Mirren goal, for a third Celtic goal against St Mirren. There's a Celtic player down as Engels inside the penalty area, having perhaps got that ball towards goal, but St Mirren surviving by the skin of their teeth there.
Yeah, I think he's okay also. He's just gone to ground, the ball just got away from him slightly, and he slid after it and got good enough contact on the ball, but just as he's gone down, he's got a probably somebody's come in and tackled him and just caught him, but I think he's was looking for the referees to react to a penalty, but he's fine, he's back up and he's running back into his position. But the goalkeeper made a decent save there, because it was one of them where it could easily have got trickled past him after the deflection. He got a good foot to it.
Just to confirm, there is no VAR at the moment in operation at Celtic Park because of that power outage we had. It was a blink of an eye stuff. It went off and then back on again very quickly, but there are clearly some issues that haven't quite been resolved, and VAR being one of them. But Celtic don't have any issues at the moment with 2-goal lead, and as Johnston plays it in again from the right dangerously, as he often does, McCowan is just slightly caught Hemming as he tried to get the ball moving again pretty quickly, and the goalkeeper went to ground. Wasn't a great deal in that, I don't think, Packy.
Yeah, it wasn't, but again it was a good position from the goalkeeper, because that ball again from the right hand side whooped in with pace from Johnson across that sort of almost again 4 yards from goal, and he was just in the right position. Instead of hanging on to his post, he comes off his line a little bit more, 2 or 3 yards, and it allows him then, he can still deal with a near post, but he can deal with that ball that's played between the defence and himself much better, and that was really good goalkeeping again.
I think Stephen Robinson contemplating a change or two as Oisin Smith has just been called back to the technical area into the dugout, perhaps to get some instructions before being introduced. It's a free kick then to St Mirren inside their own penalty area to be taken by Zach Hemming. The big screens and all the little smaller screens around Celtic Park are still off, as well as VAR, as St Mirren come
back
forward.
To the good old days, Al. No VAR, no screens. Get on with the football.
Austin Trusty having to do some defending there against Olasanya, who's flagged offside in any case, and Celtic again taking the free kick quickly back with Schmeichel. 10 minutes of the second half played. It's still Celtic 2, St Mirren 0. No chances really for St Mirren to get back into the game. One chance at the other end for Celtic to extend their advantage, but Zach Hemming making a good save to keep a deflected effort out, and it's still as it was at half time. But Celtic looking pretty comfortable, you would have to say.
They are, and they're moving the ball much better in this game. They really struggled against Rangers in their passing and their movement and ability to retain the ball or move it quickly. I think the movement off the ball has been much better today, and that's allowed the player on the ball to get the options to go past that ball, and they're moving it through the thirds of the pitch much better.
Brendan Rodgers suggesting that perhaps that 14-point advantage they had did have a subconscious psychological impact as Kuhn hits the byline and wins the side of corner. Do you think that did play its part?
That could have had, but when you're going against Rangers at Ibrox, you've got to perform. Your own fans, you can see the reaction after the game when the fans weren't happy at all, even though they've been in such a magnificent run. They lose that game and lose it well, then the reaction, that's the reaction. But what Brendan Rodgers will do, he'll use it as a learning, he'll use it as a positive, he'll be reminding them of that they have to keep going no matter what it is.
Engels in from the left hand side with this latest corner, sends it in near post. That one's defended by Bomono, who heads it well clear. Kuhn will go and retrieve it and knock it back to Johnston, who will just actually allow it to go all the way through to Schmeichel midway inside his own half, and he quickly moves out to the right to McGregor back to Johnston. Celtic got Dundee United at home.
think the energy has gone from the. Martin Nielsen he's an experienced player. He's a communicator, and you don't see many players. You don't hear many players actually talking through the game. I watch him even in warm-ups, and he's talking all the time. He's a nice, neat, tidy player. But I don't think the legs. He's not going to run away from anyone. But he's got good vision as well. He can play a pass, although the early part of the season I didn't think he had that in him. And Shinny's getting to that stage as well. But they've got Palaversa, they've got Polvara as well that can play in there too. They've got decent cover. Clarkson's a very good player. McGrath, if he can make his mind up and stay, would be an asset. I just think, off the bar, what the strike! That was for Hearts. It was Blair Spittle on the right foot. It's a good 30 yards out there, and he's just flipped the ball towards goal. Yeah, great technique, and so unfortunate to see it rattle off the crossbar. Walton beaten, I would suggest, if that creeps underneath the woodwork, and they're still on it over the bar though. Musa on that occasion just leaning back and putting it well over the bar. So again, Harps taking it.
Side for McCowan. McCowan plays it infield onto the halfway line to Trustees, closed down by Phillips. He did well there actually, the big defender, because Phillips was making some inroads. Again, apologies if there are disruptions to this commentary. There have been significant power issues at Celtic Park. Hopefully you haven't missed too much of the commentary. Still Celtic 2, St Mirren 0, as Engels picks up for the home side. Almost an hour played at Celtic Park. Back it comes to McGregor and now Johnston midway inside the St Mirren half. Celtic looking for further goals, as St Mirren certainly getting bodies ready to come on to try and change the flow of the game, which is all away to our left at the moment. It's a good challenge though from Fraser at the edge of the box to stop McCowan, and he played it forward to the right hand side, and it's Olasanya spinning away from Trusty. It's a good movement, but Ida doing brilliant work, to be fair, coming back to Rob Olasanya on the halfway line. A really solid challenge from the big Irishman, leaving Olasanya grounded, and Celtic have possession back. But really good work ethic from Ida. No, he's not been on the score sheet yet, but still performing a job for his team out there. And now it's Maida, left hand side against Pomono, angle of the box, tries to play the little disguise pass. McCowan onto it, gets it back to Maida, left hand side, and now Taylor infield to Engels, into the feet of Ida, tries the little flick, doesn't quite come off. Taylor, Fraser able to clear, and there's a stoppage here. I think Fraser has been given the free kick, but also the referee's going to allow treatment to Olasanya, who's still feeling the effects of that Adam Ida challenge, which was an entirely fair one, but certainly a physical one.
Yeah, I love to see strikers doing that type of work. He had to run all the way back, almost into his own half, to make that challenge, recognise that there was a bit of danger, and wasn't sort of standing watching. He just took responsibility, come back and took the ball off Olasanya, who I think tweaked his ankle just as he's about maybe to try to win the ball on his own, but he's down injured. But Celtic just moving the ball really well at the moment, I've got to say. St Mirren hanging in there, they're hanging, working really hard as a unit to try to stay in this game.
Yeah, they're having to, aren't they? Olasanya might have played his last part in the game, because he's limping off for one, and there are 3 subs, I think, getting ready, perhaps even, I think it's going to be 3, as Oisin Smith makes his way, Jonah Yunga as well to the touchline, and O'Hara is going to be replaced, and the other St Mirren player is going to come on is Owen Oseni. My first sighting of him. O'Hara, as I say, is coming off. So too is going to be Toyosi Olasanya, and also Greg Kiltie making way. So 3 changes for St Mirren as they try to get back into the game. We've played almost 17 minutes of the second half, and it's still Celtic 2, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, those changes were freshening up. Obviously, Olasanya wasn't fit to continue. He's got that pace, Olasanya, so that might be something. Be interesting to see if they they were going to actually go to with 2 up front, it looks like, St Mirren, which is a change of tactics. They had to do something to try to get back into this game. 1 goal back gives them an opportunity. Celtic obviously trying to get a 3rd goal just to finish the game.
Yeah, Johnston having to go back towards his own goal here under pressure from Tanzer, who can't get round him to keep the ball in, and so is behind for a goal kick to Celtic, which as usual is quickly taken. So just to confirm those changes for St Mirren, a triple change as Jonah Ayunga, Oisin Smith and Owen Oseni comes on as Maida breaks into the box, cuts it back, and Gogic is able to turn it behind. Ida hit the deck inside the 6-yard box at the near post. He's still on his backside at the moment. He's not really complaining. I thought he might have been clipped as he tried to get on the end of Maida's ball into the box, but no complaints. The save are not in operation at the moment, so it won't be looked at as it normally would be. If I can just complete the confirmation of those changes: Ayunga, Smith and Oseni on for O'Hara, Kiltie and Olusanya for St Mirren. It will be a Celtic corner right hand side as they look to extend their advantage in this second period. Again, it's Trusty in there at the near post, but he can't force that one goalwards, and it's hacked away by Ayunga. And Celtic coming to play the ball all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel, and he gets it out to Callum McGregor midway inside his own half. Just plays it short to Trusty, who's making his way back from that forward area, already on the score sheet with the 2nd goal for Celtic. Taylor's ball forward is cut out by Fraser. Now Womono. If St Mirren can get the next goal, they might just begin to believe that there's something in this game for them, but at the moment it is looking rather unlikely. Celtic playing out from the back as McCowan clips it to this left hand side, and Trusty will pick up possession and bring it forward for Celtic on the left hand side. Forward for Maida closely marked by Womono, and gets it back to Trusty, who plays the 1-2 there with McCowan, and then plays it all the way back to Schmeichel. Celtic not having to rush things. They are very much in control of the game and creating 1 or 2 opportunities in this second half, but unable as yet to add to their advantage with almost 20 played. You listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland, and you can watch the highlights of this game and all the others in the Premiership on Sports Scene tonight at 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. Maida picking up on the left hand side, try to play it infield for McCowan. No sign as yet of Celtic making any changes, which they often do around about this period, Packy, but Brendan Rodgers obviously satisfied with what he's seeing from the starting 11 at this stage.
Yeah, there's no doubt he will probably go to the bench, but they're actually moving the ball really, really well. It's just the final third they've not been able, and that's really down to St Mirren again, well organised at the back, and they're not allowing them to maybe open them up in that critical area.
Here is Ayunga with his back to goal, challenged by Trusty. He gets it back to Gogic, who clips it out to the left hand side for Tanzer. Tries to force the ball into the area, well challenged by Johnston, but at the expense of a St Mirren corner. They haven't been able to get themselves up the park all that often in this second period, and perhaps a set piece might prove to be their best opportunity to get something on the score sheet as Oisin Smith goes across to that far side to take this one. The right footer will take the corner kick from the left hand side, an in-swinger incoming, you feel, as Taylor and Gogic, Tanzer and Phillips all add their aerial threat here. In it comes from Smith. Taylor attacks it, is well matched, and Schmeichel just sees that over the top. It was Trusty who was doing the challenging there on Taylor, and between him and Schmeichel they force it over the crossbar and behind for another corner kick. It was a decent delivery, that one.
Good ball right into that 6-yard box, and it was a good match between Trusty and Taylor, and the two of them just almost gets up and challenge each other.
Smith tries again from the left hand side. Schmeichel takes charge on that occasion, coming off his line to grab that and then bowl it over arm for McCowan, who will try and get beyond Womono. He's done that. He plays it forward looking for Kuhn. Kuhn skips away from Fraser. He's into the area as it's number 3 for Celtic. Good save from Zach Hemming. Comes out to block as Kuhn looked to add his second of the game, but he was well matched there by Zach Hemming after he got away from Marcus Fraser. Good swift counter attack there from Celtic, but not quite the third goal, but it might come yet as McGregor gets it in now for Engels. Engels with a back heel, 6 yards out. Oh, it must be the third. It is! Zach Hemming and his defence getting in a fankle as they tried to gather the back heel from Engels, and it rolled into the path of Nicholas Kuhn, who barely needed a second invitation to make it Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Well, it was. Listen, the first counter-attack was brilliant. Schmeichel getting the ball, releasing McCowan, plays a great ball for Kuhn down into that sort of space where he ends up the goalkeeper making a big save. But now in this situation, the goalkeeper, and I think it might have been Alex Gogic, getting into such a tangle. It was a little back heel from Engels, and the two of them just had to get it under control, and they let it get away from him. And it was a simple task for Kuhn to just control and pass it. He could have run it into the goal. But after making the big save, that makes a big error. I don't know whether it was Gogic getting in his road or what, but he's got to take control.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was almost kicked out of his hands there. In fact, it would be interesting to see that one back. We don't have the benefit of the replays with the monitors down, but certainly Zach Hemming, having denied Nicholas Kuhn a second goal just seconds before, then getting into problems with his defenders, and Nicholas Kuhn hasn't scored an easier one, I don't think, all season, but that is now 16 for the season for Nicholas Kuhn, 9 in the league. And we've spoken a lot about him over the course of the season and the uplift in his performances, and he continues to be a threat with both goals and assists, and he has been such an important player for Brendan Rodgers this season.
Yeah, and you see the pace that he's had there again, getting it. You know, for a winger, he doesn't always play wide and hugs the line. He gets himself into great positions, and he knows exactly what he's doing and what he has to contribute to this team, and he's doing it brilliantly.
3-0 then Celtic with 24 minutes of the second half played, and they are going to make a couple of changes. Rio Hatate just did a little bit of yoga as he prepares to come on, as Yang will join him on the field of play with just over 20 left at Celtic Park. Hatate gets a last handshake from his manager as he prepares to come on to enter the field of play, and off comes Luke McCowan, and then Yang will replace Nicholas Kuhn, who will not get a hat-trick this afternoon, but he has got a couple to make it 3-0 to Celtic, and Yang gets another opportunity off the bench this time in the closing 20 minutes of the game, and Kuhn given an absolutely deserved standing ovation from Celtic Park.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure when he came to this club first, when he started his career, he wouldn't have expected that ovation coming off, but rightly so, he gets it. He's been really, really good again today, and he's in the hearts of the Celtic fans at this moment in time.
Yeah, it sure is. He's earned his place there with his performances this season, as Schmeichel has it at his feet, plays it out to the right hand side for Alistair Johnston, midway inside his own half, back to Carter Vickers. Celtic home and hose now with 20 minutes left, 3-0 to the goods, and question now of whether St Mirren can get any sort of consolation, or whether Celtic can go and add to their lead. But it's good pressure there from St Mirren. It's not back to Phillips by Bomono. Now Oseni, he can't keep a hold of the ball inside the Celtic penalty area. Trusty sees it behind for a goal kick. 26 played in this second period. Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, good effort from St Mirren in the closing down. They've got the two up front now, and they're working, they're fresh, they've come onto the pitch. Celtic trying to pass the ball as we normally see them passing the ball out of the back, but putting the ball a little bit at risk.
Here's Hatate, his first involvement, gets it back from Engels inside the centre circle, plays the pass behind Johnston, but Yang will ensure that stays in play. Back with Hatate, but 15 yards inside the St Mirren half. Forward it goes now to Engels. Engels gets the head up, plays it in for Ida, must be off the bar, in on the rebound, it's in, but the flag is up to deny Ida. He caught the volley beautifully, but it came back off the crossbar, and then he knocked the rebound into the net beyond Zach Hemming for what he thought was a Celtic fourth, but the flag is up on the far side. To the best of my knowledge, VAR is still down, so the goal will not stand. The on-field decision of offside will indeed stand, and so it remains Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
It was a lovely cross in. He just went too quick, Adamida, but showed good technique in the volley, and then obviously finishing it on the second phase. But yeah, and he probably would be desperate to get it. Oh, there's a bad pass from Trusty. Knocks it wide when he should have been just laying that back to Peter, Kasper Schmeichel. He gives away a corner, puts added pressure on them.
Just to clarify, actually, VAR is back up and running at Celtic Park, so that one would have been checked, and the offside clearly deemed to be the correct call from the assistant over on the far side. Graham McNeely getting his judgment right. It's a St Mirren corner then, left hand side, up it goes, and Trusty, having given away the corner, does well to win that in the air, and back comes Yang to keep it in play. Left hand side under pressure from Gogic, plays it off the Cyprus international, and it will be a throw into Celtic deep in their own territory. St Johnstone have got a goal back at home to Dundee. Josh McPake on the score sheet to make it St Johnstone 1, Dundee 3, and that just to just remind you of the other score lines. Motherwell leading by 2-0 against Aberdeen, who are down to 10 men after Rubezic was sent off, and Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Dundee United 0, Hearts 0, and the Motherwell game just is, having been an earlier kick-off, is finished. That's full time, 2-0. They beat Aberdeen, and also Hibs drawing 3-3 in a fascinating game at Easter Road against Rangers earlier on. So Celtic very much on course to make it a 13-point advantage at the top. But here comes St Mirren once more, ball into the box from Tanzer from the left-hand side, taken out the air by Schmeichel. His distribution wasn't what he was hoping for, but it's through the legs of Marcus Fraser, who then sides Adamida to the ground. That's a really poor challenge from the man now wearing the St Mirren armband. It's a yellow card shown to Fraser, trying to atone for his own error, and brings Ida crashing to the ground, and he's shown the yellow card for his troubles. It will be a Celtic free kick midway inside the St Mirren half. 3-0 Celtic lead with only, what were we saying, about 15 minutes left. Yeah, he's 90.
I was just going to say, he's a lucky man, Marcus Fraser, because he really should have been booked in the first half. Also, when he had that professional foul, got away with it, and that was in the very first minutes of the game. And now that was almost again a similar one. This time, siding into Adamida and booked this time.
Yeah, you would have to imagine he wouldn't have made that challenge had he already been a yellow card, but you never know. Here's Engels, right hand side for Celtic, who lead by 3-0 with 15 to play at Celtic Park. Short ball played from Taylor to McGregor on the halfway line. It's Trusty now who got the second goal just before the interval, and it was a hugely significant goal. You'd have to say, really probably put the game beyond St Mirren just before the interval, and it's allowed Celtic to really control the game even further, as Ida continues to be a willing runner, running across the right hand side this time, having been denied a goal of his own just a few moments ago by the assistant's flag. He really did catch the volley beautifully from the Engels ball, which is another example of Engels' delivery ability. Is quite exceptional. Here he is in the ball, the Belgian, quickly moving it on to Taylor, midway inside the St Mirren half, and back with Engels. And now McGregor, Taylor, Hattati, McGregor once more, still in that little pocket in the central area, and then McGregor tries a cuter ball forward, looking for the runner Maida in from outside to in, but it's too close to Zach Hemming, as some of the Celtic fans decide to beat the traffic with the game already in the bag, leading by 3-0 with just over 13 minutes to play. And it's been another pretty comfortable home victory, Packy. Really don't look in any trouble, especially once you get that opening goal here at home.
Yeah, well, once the goals change games, don't they? And you know, they got the first goal. Once you get the second goal just before half time, then it takes all the pressure off them, and they know then just to kill the game off with the third goal, and anything else is a bonus after that. From St Mirren, they've worked hard, they've done okay in the game, but very little in the way of controlling the game so that they can progress up the pitch.
Here's Yang, right hand side, in a good area, a few yards from the goal line, steps inside one and another one, lays it back now, and Engels took a swipe at that with his left foot. He might actually, it's going to stay in play. Maida scampering out to the left hand side to keep that from going out for a throw in, as it was heading from Engels' rather rash attempt at scoring there from just outside the penalty after good play from Yang to set him up, but a really wayward effort there from Arne Engels. Still 3-0 then with about 12 and a half minutes to play here at Celtic Park. Hatate moves it infield for McGregor and gets it back inside the centre circle, then out to the right hand side.
If anything, you could probably say that maybe Celtic have overpassed the ball at times, when they've kept the ball and it's been very comfortable for them, but just when they get into some positions, you would like to see them open up and play forward a wee bit quicker.
There's a ball forward from Phillips, but Orseni won't get on to that one, and Celtic pick up possession once more, and it's Taylor back to Trusty. Trusty then clips it forward. Fraser heads it downwards, helped on by Boyman, kept in play by Bomono. McGregor though there to just nudge it back to Trusty, who in turn plays it to Schmeichel. Schmeichel, a good ball to Taylor, who equally controls it well and then plays it back to Cameron Carter-Vickers, and then out to the right hand side to Johnston. Celtic looking for a fourth goal for the third consecutive home game, as Yang plays it to Hatate. Hatate forward, looking for Maida. They almost had it there. Maida just unable to bring that under control. Hemming sees it behind for a goal kick. 11 to play here at Celtic Park. It's Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, it just bounced up on him, didn't it? And he failed to get it under control. It was a really good run again. That run in behind Bomona. And Bomona's had times that he's dealt with him. Marcus Fraser's gone out there to deal with Maeda at time, and Bono he's pushed further forward. And it's worked to a point, but that is a really dangerous run with his pace.
Roland Adowu is about to come on for St Mirren. Celtic themselves are going to make a couple of changes. Kyogo's there, about to come on for the closing 10 minutes or thereabouts, as Johnston hooks the ball over his head and gets it clear under a bit of pressure. Good ball winning there by Bomono though to win it back, and then Phillips plays it in to the edge of the area, and onto that was Smith, but he lashes the ball goalwards. Kasper Schmeichel dives to his left, keeps it in. It's going to be Luis Palma, the other Celtic player, to come on for a fairly rare appearance these days. He's got a bit of work to do to, I think, convince Brendan Rodgers and the Celtic support that he is still worthy of a place in the Celtic squad. He's been out of it a fair bit recently, but he'll get a few minutes here at the end, as Hearts have scored at Tannadice. James Penrice, who's been probably their standout player over the course of this season, has popped up with what could be a really big goal for Neil Critchley away to informed Dundee United. So 1-0 Hearts lead with probably, I would guess, a similar amount of time left in that one as there is here, which stands at just under 10 minutes. Or if I can check my, it's just under 10 minutes. Here's Hatate out to the left hand side for Taylor. Taylor about 20 yards from goal, feeds it into Idar. He was looking to do so, but Gogic doing just enough with his physical presence to make sure the ball continued through to Hemming, and so it remained Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't a great pass from Greg Taylor. Didn't really give Adam Ida an opportunity to get it under control. It was away from him. That's happened quite a few times today, where Adam Ida's got into positions and maybe the pass was either behind him or too heavy, and or too high, and it just didn't allow him to get that, build that confidence that he needs. Adam.
Yeah, it's been a tough shift for Adam Ida in the last few games he's played. Still looking for a goal this afternoon. Unlucky to see one come off the bar, and on the rebound, that one being chopped off for offside. Here's Bomono right hand side for St Mirren. Still the substitutes wait to come on as Fraser sends it into the Celtic area, looking for a consolation here at the end. It doesn't quite fall for Ayunga, can bring that under control as it came to him inside the Celtic box, and so it's cleared down that right hand side. And Ida picks up against Richard Taylor, tries to run him down that right. Taylor looking to stick with him, but Ida's shown a brilliant burst of pace, and he's past Gogic as well, almost but not quite, as the St Mirren defence finally recover and manage to pick up possession and look to play their way out of trouble. But great willingness again from Adam Ida, good pace, good skill. He's going to probably make way here for Kyogo, you would imagine, but it has been a good shift, you'd have to say, from Adam Ida.
No, listen, he's worked really hard, made some very good runs, held the ball up when he's had it, when it's been good quality ball into him. I think it's the quality of the ball into him today that's not been 100%, but certainly worked extremely hard. And likewise Maeda making those runs in behind, which is really dangerous. Both of them coming off to be replaced by Kyogo and Palma.
Yes, they are, and Caelan Boyd-Muntz is the player who's going to be replaced for the closing 7.5 minutes by Roland Idowu. And again, Celtic Park rise to applaud the effort of the two men coming off, and Adam Ida's definitely getting his share of that. It's not just for Daizen Maeda, who is certainly I think I'll listen. Anybody that puts a shift in, works really hard and puts a shift in for the team, the fans appreciate that. They know the fans are not nowadays coming here and just watching the game. They want to see the effort, they want to see the ability of the players, but effort is a huge thing for any team, and if you put that in, you'll be applauded, and Adam Ida deserves that. Yeah, he's making his way down the tunnel now and just acknowledging a couple of fans who are appreciating his efforts over the course of the almost 90 minutes. 7 to play as Kyogo has made his entrance, and then his fellow substitute Hatate giving the ball away. He's bailed out there by Trusty, who's had a good game both at the back and getting on the score sheet for the first time for Celtic. And Celtic come forward through Yang. It's going to break though to Gogic just at the edge of his own area. He gets the pass off out to the left hand side as St Mirren try to build something, but they've run into trouble. Palma looking to keep it in on this left hand side. Buomono is just nudged to the ground, but it will be a throw into St Mirren. Buomono will leave this for Fraser. We've got 6 to play, Celtic 3, St Mirren 0. It is pretty much gone virtually as you would expect this one to pack.
And again we go back to that second goal just before half time, which just changes the whole complexion of the game, and and takes pressure off Celtic, where they can go out then and relax and play in the second half. And I think for St Mirren then it becomes such a difficult game to get something out of. But overall I think you're right, the game has probably panned out the way that you would expect it.
Here's Hatate picking up possession on the halfway line, pokes it forward for Kyogo. Is Gogic able to match him? Yes, he is. Shows good strength and just blocks Kyogo off and then gets it back to Hemming, who launches up to the halfway line. Ayunga wins the flick on, he'll chase it himself, but Schmeichel well out of his goal to just play that out to Johnston on the right hand side, and in field it goes to Trusty, and then for Taylor. St Mirren's next game, like Celtic's, is against Dundee United, this time at home next Saturday, whereas Celtic's is right here midweek. There'll be coverage of that, of course, right here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland, as Johnston has it for Celtic. Out to the right hand side for Yang. 5 to play, 3-0 Celtic lead, and he comes, just nudges that for Engels. He tried the little back heel, it was too cute for his own good there, and it came off his standing foot, but Yang's won it back for Celtic. Plays it back to Hatate, right hand side. Now McGregor midway inside at the St Mirren half. Taylor comes forward, gets it to Hatate. Hatate far too close to the goalkeeper, and a comfortable take there for Zach Hemming, who's been beaten on 3 occasions on his return to the St Mirren starting lineup, having come back from Middlesbrough on loan. He spent the first part of the season on loan in League One in England with Leyton Orient, but didn't play after October. But looks like he's going to be St Mirren's number 1 for the latter part of this season, with Ellery Balcom having been recalled by Blackpool. Celtic go back the way to Carter Vickers near his own penalty area. Gets a pass off to McGregor, and now Johnston forces it down the right, but to no one in particular other than Richard Taylor. Plays it back to Gogic just inside his own half. 3.5 left. of this match, plus a bit of injury time to come. It's Gogic under pressure there from Kyogo, forces it back to his own goalkeeper though, Hemming. First time ball over the halfway line. Trusty will get there ahead of Ayunga, nods it back to Kasper Schmeichel. If you can put that inherent bias towards Liam Scales aside for a moment, Packy, has Trusty done anything to suggest that he shouldn't join Carter Vickers in the centre of defence for the Dundee United game on Wednesday?
No, listen, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's hit a bad pass back a couple of minutes ago to Schmeichel. He hasn't been really under any pressure too much defensively. He's got his goal, so he's linked the game quite well, but Liam Scales has done that also, and just because you've got one bad game doesn't mean to say that you're out of things. So both of them have got the capabilities. Both of them will play when asked to do that, and it's all about trying to get consistency among the players, but they will always have a bad game in them, no matter who you are. You're always human.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Liam Scales has acquitted himself very well for the most part when called upon, but Austin Trusty has done himself no harm over the course of the 90 minutes as Ross County take a late lead as George Harman opens the scoring. So goals in all the games in the Premiership today. You'll catch them all on Sports Scene tonight, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel, including Celtic's 3 that they have this afternoon against St Mirren with 2 to play. And there is an announcement going on around the stadium suggesting that the power outage that affected us here earlier in the second half is affecting the wider east end of Glasgow, I think, and so there'll be limited lighting for the fans leaving the stadium and for ourselves, Packy. So you just watch yourself when you're leaving.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll get a bodyguard with me of some description. Probably Tomo.
Plenty of them around about Celtic Park for you if the adulation you were receiving on the way in is anything to go by. Here comes Celtic with the new heroes trying to make their names, as Palma though is caught offside by the switch of play, and it'll be a St Mirren free kick midway inside their own half. We're just entering the final minute of the 90, and the fourth official will soon let us know how much will be added on. Graham Granger down there with the board to enlighten us just momentarily. Zach Hemming about to take this free kick. 3-0 Celtic lead and extending their advantage at the top of the table to 13 points over Rangers, who could only draw at Easter Road, but despite twice leading. As Carter Vickers has caught possession of Junga, though he can't get the better of Kasper Schmeichel from 6 yards out. He must have thought he was reducing the deficit there, as Carter Vickers for once was beaten in a one-on-one, but Junga denied by Kasper Schmeichel to preserve his clean sheet, and Celtic survived that particular threat to their goal, and Hatate will bring the ball away from the left-hand side.
I'll tell you what, if they lose a goal, Kasper Schmeichel will be so angry. He's had absolutely nothing to do in this game from a defensive perspective. It's always been more offensive on the ball, but if he had to lose that goal, he would have been so annoyed. So he's come up with a big save.
4 minutes added on. We're into the first of those just now, as Hatate's caught there by Smith. As Kasper Schmeichel, I mean, his clean sheet record at Celtic has been quite phenomenal, although he was beaten 3 times last time out at Ibrox. Apart from that, he's been on a fabulous run of clean sheets, and it looks like he's come up with a big save to preserve that this afternoon. 3.5 minutes left of stoppage time, and it's still Celtic 3, St Mirren 0, as Greg Taylor just slices the ball out of play as he tried to find Luis Palma. And
I'm trying to think, has Palma touched the ball since come on yet?
Not convinced he has.
I'm not saying that it's his fault, but I don't think he has actually touched the ball.
Yeah, as I say, with the January transfer window open, and Brendan Rodgers already saying he's looking to strengthen in attacking areas. Luis Palma's the type of player who might feel that his place in the squad is somewhat under threat. Rather underwhelming season from him so far, the Honduran, and clearly places in that Celtic starting lineup are not handed out for nothing. You have to prove yourself every day in training, and he obviously hasn't quite grasped Brendan Rodgers' eye as the ball played through looking for Kyogo, but it's all the way through to Zach Hemming instead, as the final seconds tick down with the St Mirren goalkeeper preparing to launch this one long. Kyogo in close proximity as it comes up to the halfway line. Up goes Taylor, he's beaten though by Idowu. McGregor there on hand to knock it back to Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers just plays it out to the right. Johnston and Phillips both sliding in for that one. Neither player giving that one up. Johnston though comes out on top and plays a nice pass for Engels, who in turn plays it to McGregor, and now Hatate as Celtic look for a late fourth in stoppage time. Taylor comes forward, and now Palmer does get a touch left hand side up against Womono, tries to take him on the outside. Cross comes Fraser to help out his teammate, closes him down. Still Palmer in possession though, comes back the way to Taylor. Taylor left hand side back to McGregor. McGregor looks for Trusty, and Trusty plays it square to Carter Vickers. Forward down the right hand side now for Johnston, midway inside the St Mirren half. Johnston hoists it in. Kyogo's there with the header, sends it wide. He got free of his marker, as he so often does inside that penalty area, watched it all the way, got up and headed it back across goal, but too far back the way, and it's wide, and it remains Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, it was a great run actually, coming off Gogic's shoulder and get himself into the back post. The ball was a little bit floaty for him. There was a little bit more pace on the ball. I think he might have been able to guide it on target. He's had to use his neck muscles to sort of kind of almost try and get it back across the goalkeeper, and he just got too much on it, and it goes by the post.
Johnson's taking a knock there, just inside his own half in the dying seconds here. Just about 30 left of stoppage time before the referee brings proceedings to a close for the afternoon, and it will be an afternoon that ends with Celtic comfortably top of the table once more. A fourth Premiership title in a row is very much within their grasp, even at this early stage of the season.
Yeah, it's incredible, you know, obviously with Rangers beating them and them losing points, to gain those points back almost entirely is incredible, just after from one game.
Ball's out on the far side, and the final whistle sounds. Celtic with another comfortable home victory, responding to the adversity from Ibrox in fine style with a 3-0 victory over St Mirren themselves this afternoon. St Mirren now 3 games in a row they've lost, but they tried as hard as they possibly could over the course of the 90 plus minutes, but just couldn't live with Celtic in the end. Goal just before half time from Austin Trusty to make it 2-0 really was the pivotal point probably in the game. Celtic having taken the lead initially on 33 minutes, a devastating attack when Maida found Kuhn, and his first time finish ended up in the back of the net to make it 1-0. Trusty's header at the near post from an Engels corner made it 2, as I say, just before half time. Into the second period, and a bit of a comical bit of defending between Hemming and one of his defenders allowed Kuhn to tap in after Hemming had denied him just seconds before that. And although Adam Ida had the ball in the back of the net, not that long afterwards it was chopped off for offside, and then as a result of that there was an end to the scoring. Ayunga denied in the 90th minute by Kasper Schmeichel to ensure Celtic kept a clean sheet. It finishes at Celtic Park then. Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Sports Sound on BBC.